Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a great week. This week, we're going to be talking about lessons 89 through 92. So let's get started. This week, you're going to need the lessons manual, the student worksheets book, the math card games manual and the game cards, the dry erase board. You'll need the calendar of the current year and the following year, which are found in your appendix pages, page 9. You will need a colored pencil or a marker. Those materials are not included in your math set. You will also want to pull out your fraction chart pieces and a set of the tangrams. This week, your child will be working on the months of the year, reviewing and learning about the calendar, and start learning about graphs. Well, let's get started by turning to lesson 89. If your lesson manual was printed in 2017 or before, there is a correction for this lesson. So you're going to want to check out our corrections page on our website and make the changes necessary to this lesson before teaching. Now, the first section of the warm-up is having your child complete the top part of worksheet 69 independently if possible. The second part of the warm-up will have your child learn the poem 30 Days Has September. Now, the poem is listed in the explanation section. You're going to want to repeat that poem several times so that your child can remember most of it. Take a look at the section called months. In this section, you're going to ask your child general questions about the years and months. Some of those questions your child may not know. And if that is the case, you can just tell them the answer. For example, one of the questions is, how much time does it take for the Earth to travel around the sun? Well, your child may not know it takes a year. So in that case, just tell them it takes a year. Also, you're going to have your child say the months of the year and count the syllables for each month. So January would be January, just counting those. The last paragraph under the section months will be reviewing how many days there are in each month. As necessary, review the poem 30 Days Has September so that your child can review or can answer those questions. Then go ahead and give your child worksheet 69. For this worksheet, you may want to have a calendar available as a reference, especially if your child has difficulty in spelling, because they're going to be completing the chart spelling out each of the months. Another option would be for you to write out all of the months of the year on a whiteboard or a piece of paper for your child to copy correctly. Look at the top of the second page. Under the explanation section, it says this: questions 1 through 4 are included to help the child become more aware of the spelling of the names of months. Some of those questions seem a little odd, but just so you know, they're there so your child learns how to spell those words. Once your child completes the worksheet, you're going to continue through the lesson, teaching your child the various ways that dates can be written. Then you're going to have your child practice by having them write down specific dates as suggested in the lesson manual. Now take a look at the section called British dates. In this section, you're going to explain to your child that dates are written differently in the United Kingdom and in Europe. Now, I found this section interesting. Take a look at the last sentence in the under that section. It says, in this format, units are written in order from smallest to largest. Starts with day, month, and then year. And that was something that I really did not connect. So that part of that was interesting to me. The math card game suggested for this lesson is What's on Top, which you have played previously. Now, if your child is still learning their multiplication math facts or struggling on a particular multiplication math fact, play a game that will help them get stronger with those multiples. Go ahead and turn to lesson 90. If your lesson manual was printed in 2020 or before, there is a correction for this lesson. You're going to want to check the corrections page listed on our website and make the necessary changes to this lesson prior to teaching it. For this lesson, you're going to need the current calendar year as included in the appendix page. Now, the first part of the warm-up, your child is going to do the top part of worksheet 70 independently if possible. The second part of the warm-up will again review the poem 30 Days Has September. Then you're going to give your child the calendar for the current year, and you're going to ask questions to help your child get familiar with the calendar. You will also have them find specific dates, circle those dates on the calendar. Make sure that you also have the calendar handy for the next lesson as well. So don't put that one away, keep it out, make sure you have that available for lesson 91. Now take a look at the second page of the lesson under the heading Golden Birthdays. Now this was a new concept for me. A golden birthday occurs, if you don't know, a golden birthday occurs when a person's age is the same as the day of their birth. For example, my birthday is July 13th. So my birthday, my golden birthday occurred when I turned 13. Once you've explained what a golden birthday is to your child, then you're going to ask questions about it. Now, that last question in this section is a little bit more complicated. It says this: what year will a person born February 22nd in 2002 have a golden birthday? Well, the first thing is you need to determine what year they're going to have their golden birthday, which is their 22nd year. So then they're going to add 22 to the year of their birth, which is 2002. So 2002 plus 22 gives us 2024. So their golden birthday is going to be July 22nd, 2024. Now, if your child is interested, you may want to ask your child when their golden birthday is or was. Then you're going to give your child worksheet 70 to complete. Now, the worksheet is going to ask questions about the days of the week. Make sure your child knows how to spell the days of the week. If you have a struggling learner, you can go ahead and provide the spelling in advance. The game for this lesson is called Mixed Up Products Game, and you have played this game previously. If you want, you can also choose another card game that will help your child work on their specific multiplication math fact struggles. Go ahead and turn to lesson 91. For this lesson, you're going to need the current year calendar and the next year's calendar from the appendix pages 9. You're also going to need a colored pencil or a marker, which is not included in the math set. Just as in the previous days, the first part of the warm-up is having your child complete worksheet 71. And then the last part of the worksheet is reviewing the poem 30 Days Has September. Now, by now, your child should have this poem memorized unless your child struggles with memorization. Then you're going to give your child the current year calendar and next year's calendar. And you're going to discuss at that point leap years. The lesson manual is going to have you ask your child what the next 5 leap years are from the year 2000, and then it includes the answers to that. But you may also want to ask your child what are the next 5 leap years from 2020, which was the most recent leap year from the date of this recording. So if you are teaching your child leap years from 2020 would include 2020, 2024, 2028, 2032, 2036, and 2040. Now, under the section 2 years, you're going to ask questions about the 2 calendars that you gave your child, the current year calendar and next year's calendar. And then you're going to have them compare the 2. Then on the top of the second page of the lesson, you're going to give your child worksheet 71 and ask the first question: how many days are there from your birthday this year to your birthday next year? Now, the answer should be 365 or 366 if it's a leap year. You may want to remind your child after they give you the answer. Don't give them any hints before then, but after they give you their answer, then you can remind your child that there are 365 days in a year. Now, if your child missed this question, you may want to ask similar questions, such as how many days is it from the New Year's this year to next year's New Year's, a holiday, or you can use another holiday or another person's birthday. Give them enough practice to get this concept down. From there, you're going to have your child fill in the birthday bar graph on their worksheet. Now, they will first need to fill in the title and then the categories on the labels on the graph. Then they're going to think of all of the birthdays in their family. We also included extended family. We included those birthdays on the graph, and we even included our pets' birthdays on the graph. So as many birthdays as you want, give them practice on working on the graph. The math card game listed for this lesson is Multiplication Old Main, which is played like the game Old Maid. You can also pick another card game that will focus on your child's specific needs. Either way, make sure you play a card game. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 92. For this lesson, you're going to need the fraction pieces and a set of the tangrams. Now, here is what the tangrams look like. There's about 7 different pieces in there, and these are just a few of them. And your tangrams may be in different colors. You should receive 2 different sets of tangrams. You will only need 1 set of the tangrams. For the warm-up, you're just basically asking your child questions about the calendar. From there, you're going to start off by playing the game Fraction War Game. Now, to set this game up, you're going to need the fraction pieces. That's these pieces here. And you're going to only pull out the 1, the 1/2, 1/4, and the 1/8. All of the 1/2s, 1/4, and 1/8. But then you're going to turn them upside down so that the only thing you see are the blanks. You're not going to see the numbers. Then you're going to pull out the fraction cards and again, pull out only the 1, the 1/2, the 1/4, and the 1/8 cards. Once those cards are pulled, shuffle them really well, and then you can go ahead and play the fraction war game listed. Now, we again have a blog for that game. You've played it before, but we have a blog for that game, so feel free to look that up if you need to. You'll want to play this game for about 10 minutes. Once that game is played, then give your child worksheet 72 and a set of those tangrams. And you're going to start by having your child find various measurements on this ruler on their worksheet. Now, the lesson manual will give you some examples to ask them, but feel free to add more examples, especially if your child needs more practice finding those measurements. Then have your child read the instructions on the top of the worksheet. Just like word problems, I recommend that your child get in the habit of reading through instructions more than once. That way, they're less likely to miss something important, but it also works on comprehension skills. Your child will start by filling in the titles and scales on the graph. Now, the lesson manual will give you an example of how those titles can be placed, but your child may choose different titles, and that's just fine. Then you're going to take a piece of a tangram and you're going to measure using this particular this top measurement here, a ruler here, and you're going to measure each side of the tangram. And then you're going to record those sides on the graph. Now notice some of the shapes have a measurement that is in between the measurements that is listed in the graph. For example, this small triangle will measure 1 3/8. Which is in between 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 on the graph. So if your child needs to, they can reference the fraction chart to know where to mark that measurement on the graph. Now, the lesson manual will help you guide your child to know where to put that measurement. Also, for shapes like the square, some of the sides, or all of these sides in this case, are going to measure the same. So if your child measures each side individually to determine the measurements, and then that's just fine. They just make sure that they put them on the graph. Now, some kids will measure one side and realize the other 3 sides will measure the same, so they will only measure it one time, and that's fine. Again, just make sure that they're putting those measurements on the graph. Well, there is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so make sure that you pick a card game that will help your child practice their math facts, especially the ones that they're struggling with. Or you can play a game that will help your child get faster with the math facts that they know. Well, that's it for the week. If you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We are here to help. I look forward to seeing you next week as we cover lessons 93 to 96. Have a great week, everybody.